Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, May 16th, and today I will be filming a full garden tour. What is it? It's already May. Oh my goodness, our May garden tour. So much has changed, so much has grown, so come with me as I take you through our garden and show you what all is going on today. Okay, so starting right off, you can see things have just exploded in this garden. Please forgive the overgrown grass and all of that. We just have been so busy recently. We've kind of just not been in the garden that much, but also we've gotten an insane amount of rain in the last week. It's been raining so much, so things are just so green. The grass has grown so much, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Starting from this bed right here, as you can see, the greens are still going. These are collard greens, chard. Our green onions are really taking off. They're enjoying all of the rain and sunshine that we've been having. And we've got some volunteer carrots in here. And that's because in this bed, I've got tons of carrots. I've got some more chard, kale, and my carrots. They're growing so well. You can see their little tops. Look how pretty. We're starting to get into that time of the year where we're just having a lot more pest pressure. So I'm gonna show you some of the areas where we're having pest pressure. I haven't really had time to come out here and like spray things and things like that. And I'm trying to grow organically. So that means that we do have pest issues, and it's getting hotter and warmer and more humid, but things are still growing and we're still getting a harvest, and that's really what matters. And so things are not perfect in my garden, but you know, that's just life. Things are not perfect sometimes. You can see right here, some of my kale is being eaten up. Oh, my poor kale. Yeah, so a lot of these I'm gonna harvest, and I'm gonna keep the good leaves and throw out the leaves that are just too eaten up. But you know, things are still growing and we're still harvesting. And in the midst of all of this, we have some parsley. Look how pretty. Like, I have harvested this parsley so many times. I have some more parsley in here. So parsley and carrots this is some more parsley. Parsley and carrots are actually part of the same family, which I didn't know before, but they are. And over here, I've got my cucumbers, which have grown tremendously. They have enjoyed the rain that we've been having. I need to come in here with some twine and just kind of really secure them. As you can see, they're trying to secure themselves onto this, but some of these are falling over. So I really need to come through here and secure them onto this fence so that this fence can act as like a trellis for them. This is one of my wildflower pots. I have several of these throughout the garden. I think I put too many seeds in there, but that's all right. It's all right. And right over this way, you can see my container potatoes have started to fall over. They're yellowing and they're ready to be harvested. These potatoes I probably am gonna harvest this weekend. We're gonna have a lot of harvesting this weekend, and these potatoes are one of the first things I'm gonna be harvesting. And speaking of potatoes, look at this. They have grown so much, and now they are starting to yellow and fall over, as you can see in this bed. And then this one more so has really started to fall over, and the stems are getting yellow and they're getting ready to be harvested. So I was planning on harvesting these potatoes this Sunday. Today's Friday, so I was gonna harvest them in a couple of days, and I'm hoping that they will continue to kind of fall back even more in the next 2 days, just because I really need the space for the tomatoes. Otherwise, I would wait longer for them to fall over. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna do it this Sunday. I feel like I will, because my tomatoes are really needing some space. They're still in small containers and they really need to get in some garden beds. But my husband was like, maybe we should just wait and see, like wait another week. So I don't know, we'll see how things go in the next couple of days. Maybe there'll be more fallen over and ready to be harvested. There's so much going on in this bed. So we have beets and collard greens and sweet potatoes, which I know seems like a lot, but these beets I will be harvesting on Sunday. And so that way the sweet potatoes underneath can get more sunlight and be able to like really grow, because right now they're kind of being choked out by the beets. So the reason I decided to put the beets and the sweet potatoes in the same bed is because these beets I started from seeds in here at the beginning of March, and I was still like starting my sweet potato slips and then I had so many sweet potato slips, and starting from back in March I had so many sweet potato slips, and they were starting to like not do very well. They really needed to get into the ground, so I just kind of put them in here like 3 weeks ago, I believe is when I put them, knowing full well that I will be harvesting these beets within a few weeks. So generally you don't want to put two root vegetables in the same space because they can compete for space and nutrition and all of that. But since I knew that it was going to be just a temporary arrangement, I just went ahead and put the sweet potatoes in there so that they don't be too stressed in small containers, and they'll have their like space for their roots to spread, while also knowing that within a few weeks I'll be harvesting these beets. Moving on, look at another one of my wildflower pots. I think these are all cosmos. I am so excited for these to bloom. I am really hoping that they will attract some beneficial insects to help me attack the pest problem that we're having in this garden. Moving on onto this bed. Oh, let me show you my peas. Look at these peas. They are growing so well and so beautifully, but unfortunately we are having a little bit of a pest problem. You can see those little bugs. I feel like those are aphids, a type of aphid, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna have to look into that some more. But I'm so excited that they started to set pods. You can see this one, the peas are really starting to like get nice and big in there. Okay, moving on over to this bed right here is my sweet potatoes, chard, and cilantro. I know there's a lot going on here, but the sweet potatoes ended up in this space very similar to how they ended up in that space, in that is because I needed somewhere to put them so that they don't be too stressed in the little containers that they were in. And as you can see, they have just taken over this space. This is not how they were looking like when I first planted, but we've been getting so much rain and they're so happy in here. I am okay with this arrangement for now because the beets are not, these are not beets. The chard are not a root vegetable. So I don't think that they're competing too much. And I'm just making sure to harvest the leaves as often as possible to keep them small and contained so that they don't take over and overshade the sweet potatoes in the same way that they've done in that bed. And right over this way, we've got some cantaloupe. I am just shocked at how fast this cantaloupe has grown. I just transplanted these seedlings like maybe 3 weeks ago. Look at this. I need to come in here and put them up with some twine so that they can grow vertically along this cattle panel. Eventually this will be like an arch over, so it's going to be taller than it currently is, but look at how much they have grown. I think I have 4 cantaloupe plants in total in here, just going right along this side. And oh, one more thing about the beets I need to share with you about. So these beet leaves, they're in the same family as chard, and they taste so good. So whenever you plant beets, you're actually getting 2 crops in one. You're getting the beet itself, and then you're also getting these delicious greens. So if you're growing beets and you never knew before that you can eat these greens, go ahead and eat them. They're part of the same family as chard. Oh, I also forgot to talk about my zinnias. Look how beautiful. They're starting to develop little flower heads, and they've grown so much. I have a few zinnia pots. I have this one and that one right there in the corner, and this is another one of my wildflower pots, which I probably put way too many seeds in, but I actually had 1 flower bloom and then my daughter harvested it. But as you can see, these ones right here, we're about to get some more flowers, and that's pretty exciting. Look at these onions. which I grew in pots this year. This is my first time growing onions in pots. These ones have grown so well, so beautifully, and that's how they're doing right now. Now let's talk about this section of the garden. It looks so much more different than it did in my last garden tour, if you watched the last one. So in these beds I had broccoli and cauliflower, and I had a whole bunch of cabbages, and now I only have one cabbage left. But the broccoli and cauliflower, I decided to just go ahead and pull them up because it's too warm. It's like 80 degrees every day and it's just getting too warm for them, and we were having pest pressure, and also they had been in the ground for over 2 months and they still had not developed any like broccoli or cauliflower heads. And I did some research as to why that is, and it's because the heat is kind of stressing them out, and they will more than likely just bolt, meaning that they'll go to seed. So I decided to go ahead and pull them up, and I harvested all the leaves. I harvested the leaves because if they bolted before I harvested the leaves, then the plant will kind of become bitter and tough. So I decided to harvest them while the leaves were still going to be like tender and fresh. If you didn't know, broccoli and cauliflower plants, their leaves are perfectly edible. They're I would describe them somewhere between collard greens and kale. And they're very nutritious. So I got a lot of greens from all of those plants. So even though I didn't get the broccoli or cauliflower heads that I wanted, it wasn't a waste of time, let me say, me growing those plants, because I still did get a pretty significant harvest. Let me just go ahead and show you what is in these beds now. Oh, and the cabbages. So I decided to pull up the cabbages again because of pest pressure, and I'm in this stage right now where I'm deciding what battles I want to pick, because I am managing my garden and I'm also a full-time mom, and there's a lot of things going on in my life, so I can't fight every battle. So when I saw that I had a whole bunch of cabbage worms on my cabbages, I said, gotta go. It's not that important for me to have cabbages. I would love to, but this wasn't the year for that. But that little guy right there wasn't too damaged, so I said, you can live, you can survive. But the rest of them I pulled up. So let's move on to what I have planted in these beds now. Starting with here, I've got a little lavender plant, and on this side I did keep the onions in here. If you remember, I had the broccoli plants and then I had onions in between them. So I did keep the onions, and I am harvesting these because you can eat them even at this young stage before they have really like a big onion bulb to eat. You can eat the whole plant. So I cook with these very often. So here I've got what are these called? These are called eggplant. I've got eggplants in here, which we're still having tons of pest pressure. I really need to come in here and one of these days and deal with spraying these, maybe with some neem oil or something, because we are having just so many pests in the garden right now. But I've got a row of eggplant. I've got another eggplant there, and everything in between. All of these other plants are bell pepper plants, and these guys are looking so beautiful and healthy. There's not much pest pressure on them, for which we are so grateful. I think we're gonna start having flowers on these soon. Oops, see that? Gonna start having flowers on them soon. And then over in this bed, which was full of cabbages and green onions, I went ahead and harvested the green onions and chopped them up and put them in my freezer. And I have a whole bunch of green onions in my freezer now. And I pulled up the cabbages, like I said before, because of the cabbage worms, and instead I planted the last of my sweet potato slips. These I just put in the garden like about a week ago. As you can see, this discoloration on them, this is because they were kind of stressed out in their containers, because they were very root bound. Their roots were just ready to get in the ground and spread. So I went ahead and planted them in here. And then on this side of the garden, I planted peanuts. This is my first time growing peanuts, and I am so excited. I never thought in my entire life that I'd be growing peanuts, but I saw somebody else here on YouTube do it, and I'm like, wait a minute, why have I never grown peanuts? So I went ahead and I bought the seeds, and I just planted them last Sunday. So they've only been in the ground for like 5 or 6 days, and they have already sprouted. Look at them. Those are my peanut plants. There's another one, and there's another one. There's another one. Okay, Now moving on to this side, these are all, what are they called? Jalapeno. Sorry guys, I'm like missing my words. These are jalapeno peppers. All of these I started from seeds inside. Those bell pepper plants over there I bought from the garden store, but these I started inside probably back in March. And I kept those same onions that I had in my last garden tour. I can still harvest them, or I can wait for them to have bigger bulbs, but you know, we're eating them. And over here I have a row of okra. I have 3 okra plants. So funny thing, I actually don't like okra. I don't like it at all, but I determined that this is the year I'm gonna grow a vegetable that's kind of outside of my comfort zone and try to find ways to cook it in a way that I like to eat it, because okra is actually so healthy for you, and I just need to figure out how to make it more palatable to me personally. So there's my okra. I started all of these from seed inside. Weird, because where did I get the okra seeds? I don't remember buying okra seeds. I don't know if they were gifted to me by somebody. I don't know how I ended up with okra seeds, but I was going through my seeds and there was okra, and I was like, okay, I guess I should do something with this. Maybe it was one of those days when you just buy seeds and then I don't know. I don't know how I ended up with okra seeds, but I had them. Over here I've got zucchini. So that's a zucchini plant that is a lot bigger than this one. They were just planted at different times, and that's how that is looking. I think eventually I'm gonna have to pull up this row of onions just because zucchini plants get really big. So to give them space, I'm probably gonna have to go through eating this row of onions. Moving on, this space is new. This was not here before, and we just put this space in about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago. And this is going to be my 3 sisters patch. So currently in my 3 sisters patch, I have my corn and my winter squash planted. I planted both butternut squash and kabocha pumpkin, which is my favorite, my absolute favorite kind of pumpkin. And I got the corn seeds from my mom, so I'm really hoping that they germinate. The 3 sisters method refers to a traditional Native American way of growing pumpkin, squash, and beans. And that is by growing them together, with the stalks of the corn being kind of the support system for the pole beans to grow on, and the pumpkin to be able to kind of shade the ground, cover it, keep it moist, and be that sprawling plant underneath. This is the first time that I'm planting corn, beans, and squash in this way, and I'm really excited to try it out. I have not yet planted the beans in there simply because beans grow so quickly, and I need the corn to be at least a foot tall so that they are not overtaken by the beans, because the corn is going to be kind of their support system. So hopefully the corn seeds that my mom gave me sprout, and that we'll be able to have a good harvest at the end of the year. Moving on to all of my starts. These are all starts that are waiting to kind of come into the garden. A lot of these are tomatoes. I have probably 10 to 15 tomato plants that are waiting to come into the garden. All of these are Brandywine tomatoes, and as you can see, they are already starting to flower. They're so desperate to get into the ground, which is a big reason I really need to harvest those potatoes or something else in here, because they need to get in the ground. I'm not sure where I'm gonna put them, but they gotta go in as soon as possible. And I've got lots of herbs which I plan to plant with the tomatoes. I've got basil, I've also got some chamomile, and then here's some more chamomile. Look how their roots are just really trying to get out. They're so ready to go into the ground. And I also have lots of cherry tomatoes. These I plan to put in containers, and they need to get into the ground ASAP as well. All of those seedlings are plants that I started myself from seed in the winter, and now they're just patiently waiting to come outside. And I feel like it's such a gardener problem whenever you like start so many seeds or buy so many starts, and you're like, where are all of these gonna go? I was talking to my husband about this like a month ago, and I was like, babe, I have so many starts and nowhere to put them. And he was like, why do you have so many starts? I don't know. I can't help myself. I have to buy them or start them. I don't know. It's like an addiction. Over by this little fence line, I have some more lavender. She's already started to flower. And I have 6 watermelon plants. 6 of them. I'm laughing at myself because it's kind of going back to that. Why do you have so many starts? Why do I have 6 watermelon plants? Because I started 2 by myself, and then I went to the garden store and they had a pack of 4. And of course I had to buy it. So now I have 6 watermelon plants. Is that too many for a family of 4? I don't know. I've never successfully grown watermelon. So I'm actually hoping that it grows in the first place. And if it does, and we have a lot of watermelon, then a lot of my friends will also be eating a lot of watermelon. That's just kind of the plan right now. I'm either gonna eat it, freeze it, or share it. That's my philosophy. These are the 2 which I started myself. And these 1, 2, 3 got them from the garden center. And this 4th one didn't have a home for a while. So he kind of got stressed out in a little container, and I just found this pot for it. And so now hopefully he'll recover and grow and be just like his brothers and sisters over there. Due to the other side of the garden. Oh, did I show you my 1 cabbage? She's still standing, she's still growing. And these are some of my other tomatoes that are getting ready to go into the garden. And I've got some more peas, which are setting pods, which is so exciting. We're so grateful for having things starting to get ready to be harvested. So that is the May garden tour. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about my garden. It's so nice. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see next. The next garden video I plan to, sorry, I have bugs jumping on me. My daughter's waiting for me. The next garden video I plan to put up is a harvest video, so stay tuned for that. Please like and subscribe. My name is Maggie, by the way, and I like to make videos about gardening and harvesting and all that kind of stuff. So if that's what you like to watch, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.